Hello chess fans, we're back with another over the board analysis video. So today I want to show you a game I played that pretty much illustrates how a higher rated player can try to win these types of equal end games. Okay, so the game started with d4, and I have played this opponent many times before, and a long time ago they were much higher rated. They were like 2100, and so I prepped the line for them a long time ago, and that was like 6 years ago. And so I decided, like, over the board I'll just use the same line I prepped for them a long time ago because they pretty much do the same thing every time. So here, knight f6, and they went for e3, the Collie system. It's a little bit of a less ambitious approach, but white pretty much gets a game that they want to get every single time, and black can't really do much about it. So here I went for c5, the most ambitious move. The idea is that, okay, we're just going to play the Queen's Gambit then, because you're just playing the Queen's Gambit decline. So here they went for c3, which is, again, not a move looking for an advantage. Probably they should take or go c4, both of those moves. Maybe give white a small edge, but c3, at this point, the position is completely equal. And here, black has to make a decision. So the main move by far is e6. The idea is just to protect the pawn. Now, I'm not a big fan of that because we block in the bishop. So what if we could defend the pawn and not block in the bishop? Moves that come to mind are queen c7. Now you can take with the queen. But I also don't want to take with the queen. I want to take with the minor piece. So what's more natural than knight bd7? Probably the best move. Now, the reason knight bd7 is maybe the best move in this position rather than e6 is that, okay, we're defending the pawn, but also the knight doesn't want to go to c6. Because if the knight goes to c6, it doesn't really do anything that it's not doing on d7. Like, the pressure on d4, you're never going to b4. Okay, you can go to a5 and c5 and c4, that's an idea, but you can also go to b6 and c4. So there's just no reason for the knight to be on c6 in this type of structure. So the knight goes to c7, d7, and this is actually a common idea in the Catalan. We're going to see it transpose. My opponent goes bishop d3, and now I go g6. So the knight on d7 also looks to cover this e5 square, which I can maybe look for in the future to push this e5 pawn. And now the bishop can also look at this square in the future. It's also another possibility. So my opponent went here. I went bishop g7, again continuing development, castles, castles, and yeah, you can see the arrow there. But yeah, here I've actually had the same position with my opponent before, and here my opponent went for the same move they actually went for last time. So here, just to discuss some of the position a little bit, one of the moves they want to play is knight e5. The idea is to go, as you can see by the arrows, to go for f4, queen f3, g4, g5, and just attack. And it's a really, really simple idea, and one of the reasons why this setup used to be very popular. Now I think it's been replaced by the London system because, okay, if the bishop was on f4, it's just like strategically better for white. But here, actually, they can't do this because if takes, knight g4. There's no way to defend this pawn. f4 hangs this e3 pawn. And now, yeah, as you can see, there's this fork. Knight f3, well, look at this bishop on g7. It's defending it. So they can't do this either. And yeah, they have no way to defend the pawn. So some people thought about a few ideas. Okay, I want to play knight e5. What can I do? Okay, the first idea is queen e2. Okay, I highlight a6. It's not a very good move. But the idea of queen e2 is defend the e3 pawn. And now we can go for knight e5. Like if I go for a6, then knight e5, takes, knight g4, now f4. Now this e3 pawn is defended. So that's the first idea people came up with. And then some actually pretty clever people came up with the idea to go h3, stopping knight g4. And maybe the queen doesn't want to be on e2. Like maybe the queen is just well placed on e1. This is also possible. Under both of these moves, after queen e2 and h3, here I would go queen c7, preventing this. And then here, black is still better. Yeah, at this point, white is playing for equality. So white played the best move, rook e1. And yeah, as you can see by the arrow, here, if I could play bishop f5, my setup would actually be perfect. Because then, even if takes, then I have control of the e4 square, I have control over the e5 square, and they can't do anything. But I can't do that. So here I spent a long time, and I played this move b6. And here I recommend you take a few seconds. On e4, what is the move for black? And it requires a lot of calculation. I spent around 5 minutes here to play b6. But b6 was actually still a part of my preparation. And I've had this same position against this opponent actually before. So yeah, take a few seconds to see if you can find the move on e4. So on e4, if you say d takes e4, this is not the move. Because after takes, here they actually can take with the knight. And there's nothing really wrong with this. This position is about equal. They have the 3 versus 2, but the central majority is usually better in the middle game. So instead of that, c takes the better move. And now if knight takes, it's a little bit different. We have this e5 idea. After knight c5 attacking the bishop, let's say the bishop moves back. Now we have e5. Knight goes back. And then we can just take. Let's say like, I don't know. Knight takes, queen takes d8, rook takes d8, takes, rook takes, bishop b7. We have the bishop pair for one, but also after like rook e1, like rook d5, we also have a much more active position. Bishop f3, rook d8. This is just clearly much better. We have the bishop pair, we have the central majority that can be pushed up the board. It's -1. Okay, so there's nothing concrete, but you just have to make sure that if you play d takes e4 here, you're just letting their knight into the game first. Then after like e5, you even have problems, maybe. Takes, okay, this is hanging. And if you go here, then knight c6. And you have problems. Queen c7, bishop h6. Okay, this line gets absolutely crazy. If queen takes here, then bishop e4. So yeah, apparently there's a lot of concrete problems here. But that's why you have to take here. But after takes here first, you also have to calculate e5. What if this move is working? Now here, thankfully, it's not, because after takes, we're attacking the rook. So if takes, it's an easy line. Just takes here, and we win. We're up a full exchange. But what if they take here? Isn't this a fork? And now here wasn't so easy. This is why I spent so much time calculating. Because after takes, I'm still forked. And where does my queen go? If my queen goes to e8, actually they're winning after bishop b5. I have no moves. a6 here. If I go here, then bishop f4, I'm completely lost. I have nothing to do. So it's just like, wow, I'm just completely paralyzed. So that's why the last move I had to see was queen here. And then after they take, I just take back, and I'm just purely up a pawn, no compensation. There's a pawn on d5, and they don't have one. So yeah, that's what you had to see to play c takes d4, because if you don't have queen c7, you're actually losing. After queen e8 here, white is winning. Or not white is winning, white is plus 0.7, but white is better. And that's what I saw. I saw queen c7, and I should be doing well. Okay, so they can't go e5 either. So again, my opponent played c takes, the best move. Now I take, and now they take, and now they have this isolated pawn. And that's the whole idea. It's just we've given them an isolated pawn. They didn't take with the knight. And we have the perfect setup. After bishop e7, we have the double fianchetto against the isolated pawn. And they have this knight on e4, which just makes no sense. Like here, the best move is actually knight c3. And okay, if my opponent went knight c3, then I'm also up on development with an isolated pawn. With my opponent having an isolated pawn, which is like, okay, you really shouldn't. White is supposed to have activity. But here my opponent went bishop g5. A little bit of a confusing move. I went h6, attacking the bishop. And now they went here. And so they were just like, okay, I provoked a weakness with h6. Unclear if h6 is a weakness or not, but it's definitely an interesting idea. Now here, one of the ideas is when your opponent has an isolated pawn, you want to trade minor pieces. And so here I was really fine to just take, and then go knight f6. And after rook e1, I've traded two pieces that sort of didn't have great squares. Neither of these pieces, okay, the bishop on b7 was good, that is true, but the knight on d7 just wasn't really good. And once I traded off the knight, once I trade off this knight, because essentially I'm trading off this knight for this knight. Once I trade off this knight and they go here, I have to go bishop takes. So okay, I got rid of one good piece, but I got rid of one of my bad pieces, and I traded off two of my opponent's pieces that could attack me, or create problems, or be used for activity. So it's generally a good idea, even though I traded off a decent piece. And now here I made the first move I actually wasn't very happy that I played. Now, it's not necessarily a mistake, and actually, like, it's the third best move. But I think it's the type of move that it's very instructive that I don't think any stronger player than me would actually play this move. And the move is maybe a natural move. It's queen d6. So I want to connect rooks, but I don't want to play queen d7 because then they go knight e5. So I guess I played queen d6. And it's unfortunate because I didn't see that actually the bishop on b4 can be a threat. And I don't want to go knight d5 because then there's no pressure on the d pawn. They can go knight e5. So what I should have done here is go e6. And now this pawn is no longer hanging. And yeah, I can just develop behind the pawn. Probably the queen goes to d5. This was probably a better square for the queen. But instead of that, I went queen d6. And now they played queen a4. Excellent move by my opponent. Very, very nice move. Threatening bishop b4. And I have no way to defend it other than to go knight d5, which is a move I didn't want to play. Because now they get knight e5 for free, and this pawn is defended. If here, like, I wish I could play a move like rook d8, and they don't have bishop b4. But, okay, I have to stop it. And also, I don't want to go a5. That just creates more weaknesses on b6. So knight d5, rook c1. And yeah, here already I was feeling very bad. Because they have a lot of activity now. And I really had no need to give them any of this. If I played e6, then my queen wouldn't be so badly placed on d6. So here I was getting a little bit sad, or a little bit unoptimistic. But I'm still slightly better here. I'm still minus 0.2. And here I probably should have gone for the move e6. Just been patient. But okay. Unfortunately, that's one thing that I think is very difficult as a chess player, is to be patient. Just to do a move that, okay, slightly improves your position. You sort of just want to do something as black. And here, yeah, take a few seconds to see if you can find what you would do. I didn't end up playing... My move is good. And it's a flashy move. It's a nice move. But it's maybe just unnecessary. And the move I played was b5. And b5, I mean, okay, it has some concrete ideas here, actually. So here, my opponent ended up playing the best move, I think, in only like 2 minutes. I don't think my opponent saw b5, because when b5 came, they were like... But I think my opponent pretty quickly realized what the idea was. So if takes here, then I have rook fb8. And after queen a4, this is unnecessary. It's really unnecessary for white to give me so much activity like this. So they really shouldn't take. They should just go back queen b3. Then here, in the future, they're sort of just threatening to take always. Or go like knight e5, rook c6, and then takes. So at this point, the best move is a6. Like, was my idea really that I want to waste a full tempo just to play b5? And that's where it's just like, yeah, maybe. The engine doesn't say it's that bad, but okay, it's not the best idea. Here my opponent goes for the most natural move, knight e5. Now they want to go rook c6. And okay, I have to prevent rook c6 pretty much, so I went rook here. And here, I got really lucky. Here, I was pretty much deathly scared of my opponent playing queen f3. The idea is now they want to take, and then take on f7, because then the rook is no longer defending the f7 pawn. What if I play a move like knight f6, let's say? Then knight c6. How do I defend this? If I go e6, then wait, what was the winning move here? Oh yeah, bishop b4. I lose immediately. So I can't go knight f6. Okay, so what do I do? Well, I have to get rid of this then, to get rid of their threat. Takes. Now what if I go e6? Well, now they have rook c6. And now I'm forked. Let's say I go queen b8. What if they just take the pawn? And this is what I didn't end up seeing, is that here actually apparently after takes, queen c8. Here and queen c2, very important move. Here, I'm apparently -1. And black is much better here, with the idea being after g3. Here, black's best move is, I think, unfindable. Like, I don't even think a super GM would play this move, probably. g5? Okay, so just some dirty engine stuff. And apparently it's -1. I have no idea why. So they can't really take. Instead, they're just supposed to go like h3. And then I'm just supposed to go queen b7. And the position is completely equal. But I was really afraid of that. I was really afraid of queen f3. And so my opponent picked up their queen. And I thought they were going to go queen f3. And I was like, okay. My opponent is playing extremely well. And what can I even do? And then they play queen h3. And I didn't see queen h3 at all. So when my opponent first played this move, I was like, oh my gosh. I didn't even consider this move queen h3. Now, luckily for me, it's actually a bad move. And then after a few seconds, I was like, okay, wait. This move is worse than queen f3. But yeah, I didn't even see this move when my opponent played it. And so here, of course, my opponent is threatening the rook on c8. So, okay, there's two ideas. Either e6, but then, okay, that gives up this. So, obviously, I have to take here. Rook takes. And here, there's a very, very difficult move. So, like, just pause the video, see if you can find it. Black to move. Only one good move here in the position. And I didn't end up playing it. Here, you do have to be careful that this is hanging. But here, you just have to take here. And this is very difficult to do. After takes, I'm up a pawn. But okay, maybe I was scared of this. But now I win another pawn. And now if they take here, they get checkmated. So they can't do that. So what do they do? And I'm just going to be up a pawn here. So yeah, that was something I guess I should have seen here. After queen d7, the line gets really complicated. e6, rook d1, rook b8, because the rook has to get out of the attack. And then, okay, I'm up a pawn. But it just looks so weakening. And I feel like maybe I could have won a pawn in a better way. So I went knight f6. Now I'm attacking the d4 pawn. If they take here, I take here. This is clear to me. Because now we have knights on the board. They don't have this big attack. And, okay, my structure is better. Apparently this is still a draw. A drawn position. But okay, they went bishop e3, defending their pawn, which is also very natural. I went h5, defending my pawn. Again here, apparently the best move is knight d5 to look for the same idea. But, okay, I didn't see it. Now they want to play rook c6, but then I have queen b4. So they went a3. Okay, so all these moves, very, very logical. All the moves my opponent is playing, make a lot of sense. And they haven't done anything particularly wrong yet. Like, their opening has been bad, but now they're only minus 0.2 because of the opening. So, yeah, here I went rook d8. And again, they played very solid, going rook c8. Not a bad move at all. I have to go e6 because, okay, if I do anything else, there's just nothing else to do. e6 pretty much forces their hand. Takes. They went queen f3, and now I go queen d5. It's the only move. Otherwise, they're going queen b7. And we get to this position. And, yeah, here they should really have just taken, because then their knight is nicely placed on e5, and they don't lose a tempo. But after h3, this move is actually just a waste of a move, because now after takes, they not only give me the move, but they also move their knight to a worse square, which actually doesn't make a big difference. Time is really not an important factor here in this endgame, because I'm just going to move my minor pieces anyways. But here the evaluation is minus 0.2, and I outrate my opponent by 400 points. So I can't give up a draw here. So this is where I have to work some magic. I have to play forever, and I have to just keep on prodding and poking at weaknesses. And luckily for me, I have been on the opposite side of this type of position many times. Many times I've played in a tournament where I'm against some sort of IM or GM or FM even, and then we just get an equal end game, and they just play. And that's all you have to do. Eventually your opponent will make mistakes. So I go knight d5. Now I'm attacking the bishop. I'm always making my opponent think, can I really take the bishop? Is this so good for me? So they go bishop d2. Now here I should go f6 with the idea to go here, and then g4, g5. Didn't see it. I went knight d7. My idea is to go knight f5. King f1. Now I go knight f5. Okay, they commit to this sort of passive move, bishop c3. Now bishop, okay, just looks kind of like a pawn. So maybe victory number 1. I got my knight to a slightly better square. Their bishop makes no sense. Okay, now king f8. King e2. Now if I go king e7, then knight e5, knight c6, knight b8, and knight b4 comes with tempo. So do I save a tempo if I go king e8? Yeah. Okay, next move. Now let's start playing a little bit quicker. My opponent is down 20 minutes on time. King d3. Knight e7. Very, very nice move. I mean, actually, sorry, it's not a very, very nice move. It doesn't really do anything. It's just sort of a waiting move. Going knight d5, preventing the knight from getting here. g4. Okay. Now, a lot of people will be like, okay, g4 is the first unnecessary move. Now, I don't think it is, actually. I think g4 is a fine move. And the engine actually says it's the top move. But maybe practically it's a human mistake, because moving your pawns is something you can't undo. Like here, notice I can do nothing forever. Just do nothing, just move my pieces back and forth. Notice that I went here, 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 here as my last moves. Those were my moves. And my opponent went king here, 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 g4, and bishop d2, bishop c3. So clearly my opponent has made more progress for me. Now, I don't know if that's positive progress or not, but at least the position is changing. Now I go knight d5. So my last few moves are knight f6, knight d5, knight e7, knight f5, knight e7, knight d5. So 6 moves in a row, I've done nothing. Bishop f8. Now I finally do something. Okay, I realize, okay, the bishop's better placed on this diagonal. My opponent goes knight e5. The knight's better placed on e5. I go bishop d6. I'm always thinking, can I really take here? I'm always asking my opponent questions. Can I win the game like this? And again, my opponent decides to just play like an engine. Engine's top move, f3. This is the only move. Now it's 0-0-0. So clearly I haven't played this accurately. I should have gone f6 in here. But okay, I just started playing quickly and moves that don't commit to anything. So I went knight e7. Okay, so I've gone knight f6, knight d5, here, 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 and now I'm going back again. The Lichess even got rid of the arrows because I did it 2 times. Or no, I did 3 times actually. Went back to e7. And here my opponent goes bishop g5, attacking my knight. And then I just go back and they go back. So okay, my opponent lost actually a full minute from that. And I lost a minute too, but my opponent is down 20 minutes. So I'm willing to lose a minute for both of us. He didn't do it immediately. He spent like a minute on it. So I'm willing to do that because then my opponent gets lower in time. Now I go bishop c7. This move, you want to know what the idea is? The idea is, okay, maybe I go bishop d8. Maybe the bishop can come out here, protect this pawn at some point. The main idea is I'm just making a move. And here my opponent finally cracks. They play the first move that is bad. So up to this point, they've actually just played the top engine line, which is unfortunate for me. But okay, what can you really do? You know, it's not a very difficult position. So here, my opponent probably should just do nothing. Go bishop c1. This is a top engine move. Here my plan is to go knight e7, bishop d2, and f6. Notice that they would be trapped here, so here they would be completely lost. So instead of that, they have to go like king e2, and then after f6, knight d3, knight c6, bishop e3, bishop d6. Okay, the position is completely equal. And yeah, there's just no way I would have won this if they just do nothing. But they went h4. And once I saw h4, I was really happy because there is no need to play h4. Commits a pawn that is now stuck on a dark square, and we have dark square bishops. So immediately I go bishop d8, they go g5. Another pawn on a dark square. Now there's just all sorts of weaknesses. And also with g5, I have the f5 square for my knight again. Okay, bishop c7. Again, I do nothing. And then here I think they made the move that gave me chances to actually finally win the game, which I was really, really happy about. Here they went for this move b4. I think this move, at least according to the engine, it's not a blunder. It's still not losing. And up to this point, we're both playing actually 7 center pawn. But this move, I think, is a human blunder. Now, all your pawns are on dark squares. And you gave me the c4 square, possibly to use for my knight. Just doesn't really make much sense. Now here, maybe immediately, I can go knight b6. And then if they waste a move, then I have a threat. Now I would win the game. A fork. So actually, after knight b6, maybe the only move is king e4. And then even it's still difficult. Takes, knight c4 here. Are they drawing? Yeah, they're drawing, but okay, it's something to think about. So maybe that was better, but obviously I wouldn't take there. I would just play nothing for a million moves again. Instead I went knight e7. I was like, oh, let me just get to that f5 square as quick as possible. They go king f4. I go knight f5, attacking the pawn on h4. Bishop e1, bishop b6, attacking the pawn on d4. Now I'm developing a small initiative here. Now knight d6, attacking the king. Again, they have to make the only move, king d3, because otherwise I want to go knight c4. Then I go bishop d8. Bishop d8, a nothing move. We're just playing moves. There's no need to commit to anything before I just made a bunch of nothing moves and waited for a mistake. And so I think for another 30 moves here, honestly, I also to mention at this point my opponent had gone an extra 30 minutes, so time pressure wasn't a problem here. I'd move 40 to gain extra time. So again, I just have to make a bunch of nothing moves, just do nothing, and just hope my opponent makes a mistake, and then eventually I'm going to play a5. That's the only way to make any progress. I was going to wait forever here. I was going to try to get here, bishop on c7, try to get the same tactic off. If they ever go king e4, preventing that, then maybe I can get knight c4 where their bishop is too far away from a3. Okay, it should never work. They have a concrete way to defend all of that. But, yeah, I just have to try, right? And here they did it. They committed. They went knight c6. They forced my hand. Knight c6 has a very clear idea. They want to go knight b8. If I don't play the right move here, they're going to go knight b8. Then I have to go a5, and then they're trading pieces. So I went knight c4, attacking this. Now if they go a4, then I have knight b2 with a fork. So here they go knight b8. And here again, they're attacking my pawn. I pretty much only have one move, which is a5. And here, notice again that if they play a4, I go knight b2. Or sorry, no, here I can't do that. Here after takes, this position is winning. b3, very key move. They can't take this because I promote. King c3, b2, king c2. Then here I go bishop c7, knight c6, king d7, and apparently the position is completely winning. Did I see any of this? No. But, okay. I just kind of assumed knight b2 would also be good for me. King c2, knight a4, and here I'm up a pawn. But we're going to see. Here they should have played takes, and now the best move, which I think is impossible to find, is a4. Because now you just walked into a pin, you just lose a pawn. King c2, knight a4, but they have concrete defenses here. Knight c6, attacking this. Let's say bishop c7. Knight a7, attacking this. b4, knight c6, attacking this. Let's say I defend, now they sack it. Then they go here, and this is a draw. So, yeah, I think it's very, 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 very difficult to spot that. And even still, apparently black is slightly better. Here I have better ways to play. I have bishop c3, knight a7, b4, knight c6. Then I can win with here. And now this. So if I don't give them that tempo. So here now they have to find knight b5, king d7. And knight takes c3 is losing. So they have to find king b3, knight b6. Now takes. I mean, even this, it's still okay. Maybe this is actually a clear draw. Yeah, this actually looks pretty clearly drawn to me. But okay, again, they have to find all of these moves, which is very, very difficult. a4 is already a very, 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 very difficult move to find. And if they play a move like, I don't know, bishop g3 waiting, then I just win the pawn. If they play a move like knight c6 waiting here, then okay, now they have to find something again. They have to find a4 again. And I think my opponent saw all of this. And a4 is already a very, very difficult move that they have to find after knight b5. And they end up going knight c6. And their idea was, okay, now if Now if I take here, well, they can take back and okay, I'm not losing, right? But they missed a4. And now the a3 pawn falls. There's nothing to do. And yeah, I quote unquote swindled my opponent. Now I didn't really swindle them. I sort of just gave them a bunch of problems. I played an equal position. I just played moves. That's just what you have to do. You just have to play moves, and you have to just hope your opponent doesn't play like an engine. Because clearly in the opening, my opponent only gave me one chance, bishop e5. But I'm not a extremely strong player yet either. So I didn't find that opportunity, and then my opponent gave me no other chances. But then I just played an equal position, and I was able to do it. So here I won this. The rest of it is pretty easy. I just traded this and then bring the king in. And here, my opponent actually resigned. If you want to see how to win this after bishop d3, I would go a4, bishop d2, a2, bishop d4. Now here, key move, knight d2. Threatening knight b3, and if they take, okay, this is clearly winning. And otherwise, they can't stop knight b3. And it would be game over. And yeah, that's what I saw, and my opponent decided they didn't want to see that anymore, and they resigned. So yeah, this was one of my favorite games from the tournament. I think it's a game that I have been on the losing side of so many times that I'm finally happy that I was on the winning side of a game like this, where one side is just very, very, very slightly better and just plays moves. And then eventually the other side gets low enough on time, or my opponent wasn't really that low on time at the end, or the other side just doesn't have the ability to keep sharp for the whole game. It's very difficult to defend, especially as a human. Defending is not easy, but Stockfish obviously can defend tirelessly the whole game. But yeah, that's in today's video, guys. If you like the video, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.